This tells Python that all the arguments that are passed to this parameter will be stored as tuple. You can have parameters before and after, but parameters after this parameter have to be assigned via the keyword argument. All arguments that are passed to this parameter are stored as dictionary. Hello coders, welcome to my channel. I'm David, your guide to mastering programming. Imagine you're building a function to handle hamburger orders, but there's a problem. Not everyone wants the same number of toppings. One customer might ask for just onions, while other piles on burger sauce, cheese, and pickles. How do you write a function that handles any combination of toppings, no matter the length? Stick until the end to discover a powerful Python feature that will help you solve this problem. Now, let's solve this problem that I mentioned. I'll create a function, def, and call it hamburger. Now I'll create a parameter and call it toppings. In order for this parameter to handle, to get all the toppings that I want, no matter the length, I need to write this asterisk sign. This tells Python that all the arguments that are passed to this parameter will be stored as tuple. Now I can print toppings, and I'll also print the type of the topping so that you can see that the type is indeed the tuple. Hamburger, and I'll pass cheese, onions, and pickles. As you can see, all the elements are stored in a tuple. Also, I can write also a one element. For example, just onions. Now when I run, as you can see, onions is stored and the type is indeed tuple. Also, this asterisk and then the argument doesn't have to be the only parameter inside this function. You can have parameters before and after, but parameters after this parameter have to be assigned via the keyword arguments. For example, here hamburger and say 1, for example, and now same cheese and onions, and now maybe I want 3. As you can see, the pie chart tells you that all these arguments are stored in toppings. Why is that? Because toppings get the unlimited number of them. So if I want to assign, for example, these 3 to be b, I have to use the keyword argument. Here I can write b equals 3. Now as you can see, cheese and onions are inside the toppings, and A and B have the values 2 and 3. A can be assigned also using the keyword argument, but it also doesn't have to, because this first argument is stored here and the rest are stored inside the toppings. In order to break that, I need to write this keyword B in order to tell Python that I want these 3 to be stored inside the B, not inside the toppings. Also, I can write something similar to this, but all the arguments, as you can see here, they can't be assigned using a keyword. But what if I want to have as many of the arguments, but that have to be assigned using the keyword? In that case, I can use something like this. This tells Python that all the parameters, the arguments that are passed to this parameter are stored as dictionaries, which means they all have to be assigned using the keyword arguments. For example, func and then a equals 1, b equals 2. Now when I run this, I expect to see, as you can see, a is the key, 1 is the value, b is the key, and 2 is the value. So the keyword is the key, while the value is the value inside the dictionary. As you can see, it says dict, which is an acronym for dictionary. Also, you can have arguments, but in this case, the arguments can't be after this argument. So I can't have an argument here. For example, a, as you can see, it's red. But I can have it before, as you can see, for example, here. Let's not name it a, let's call it arg. Now, that arg can be assigned using just the positional argument or even the keyword argument, for example, like this. Let's print args. As you can see, oops, it's a arg. Let's print arg. As you can see, it works. If I remove this, now it also works, so there is no problem. Also, you can combine these two types. For example, I could write something like this. Def func and have args, kwargs. This is also a standard name for these types. This is an acronym for arguments, while this is an acronym for keyword arguments. Also, the same rules apply here. For example, here I can have A, and here I can have B. Why this works? Because this argument type can have the arguments before and after, but this can have only before. B and A are before. Now, when I run this, in order to call this the right way, as I have mentioned before, this first can be assigned using a keyword or positional. For example, in my case, I'll use positional A, 1, and let's say 2, 2. Then B has to be assigned using the keyword argument. For example, 3. And here I'll have to assign, for example, 3 to have value 3, 4 to have value 4. Now I expect to see 1, then 1, 2, 3 as tuple, then 3, and then 3 and 4 as dictionary. As you can see, 1, 1, 2, 3, and 3, 4 as dictionaries. I hope you found this video helpful. Like and subscribe for more coding content. See you in your next video. Until then, keep coding.